that boom and bust cycles are actually good. Do you agree with that? I mean, in this book, you talk about why an economy crashes, but what's your response to that?
Well, they're not good. I mean, what's bad is an artificial boom. You see, in a normal economy, you pretty much have a constant boom. It's not like, it's upward slope. It's not, but what happens is the government comes in and interferes, distorts the market, introduces cheap credit, and creates malinvestments. It creates overinvestment. It causes people to do foolish things. It causes businesses to misjudge the real amount of savings in society, and it causes them to fund capital investments that really aren't warranted given the true savings and consumption patterns in the economy.
So there's a misallocation of capital.
Right, and it happens during the boom. You figure it, George Bush talked about, Wall Street got drunk, right? Yeah, they were drunk on cheap credit supplied by the Fed, and while they were drunk, they did stupid things, like dot-com stocks, or like buying these structured products full of, junk, subprime mortgages, right? And so the problem is during the boom, when all the politicians and everybody loves it, everybody's getting rich on dot-com stocks, or everybody's getting rich on condo flipping. That is the problem. That's where the bad investments are made. When the bust happens, that's the free market's way of correcting the economy for all the mistakes that were made during the boom. So the recession, the bust, that's actually the good part. That's the cleansing part. That is the withdrawal, right, where you can get those toxins out of your system. Unfortunately, politicians hate the bust. Right. They hate the recession. They always want to stimulate the economy so that we prevent the market from doing its function. And what they do is create a bigger problem. Like when this NASDAQ bubble burst, instead of allowing the bust to happen, they stimulated it. The stimulus is what caused the housing bubble.
Right. So fast forward to today, we had the housing bust. The Fed cut rates to 0. Yes. And they're meeting this week, and you've been very critical of them, and there's a character in this book, Ben Barnacle, thinly disguised reference to Ben Bernanke. I'm assuming you don't have much faith that the Fed is going to be able to execute this exit strategy we keep hearing about.
There is no exit strategy. They just talk about it. But it's like the Roach Motel of monetary policy. You can you can get in, but you can't get out. They're repeating all the same mistakes of the Greenspan Fed. We're blowing up a bigger bubble now than the NASDAQ bubble or the stock market bubble. Unfortunately, it's a government bubble. All the new money that the Fed is creating is going to expand government. Government has now grown enormously. The federal government is now spending almost $4 trillion a year. If you look at the fiscal 11 budget, that's more than twice what it spent 10 years ago. So whereas at least we got some value out of the NASDAQ bubble and the housing bubble, we get no value out of the government bubble. In fact, we get negative value because more government agencies, more government programs that we don't need are going to impoverish the country. And siphoning productive capital from Main Street and Wall Street to Washington is going to undermine our economy further. And when this government bubble bursts, when the rest of the world doesn't want to buy our treasury bonds anymore, or our mortgage-backed securities, because they figure out, the real tragedy is America, not Greece, that's when that whole thing comes tumbling down. Meantime, instead of addressing our economic imbalances right now like we should be, we're making them worse.
All right, Peter, we got to leave it there. Thanks.